U.S. says Israeli settlements are no longer illegal. Businesses cut ties with Duke of York, Prince Andrew. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on the World News. I'm Daisy Obaisiamu. Reactions have started trailing results of Kogi and Bayelsa State's governorship election released by INEC. Patient Usagua has details.
Soon after the APC governorship candidate in Kogi State, Yaya Bello, was announced winner of the election, the PDP agent rejected the result, describing it as a sham. He stressed that it was manned with violence and refused to sign the result sheets. But the APC agent at the Collation Center applauded the outcome of the election.
The election is totally marked by violence. There's no need for proof. The proof is daylight. Every reporting officer, every EO, listen for cancellation, ballot box snatching, violence, intimidation, and the source is only one source.
These are bad losers. The election was very transparent. INEC has done a good job. The security operatives have done a good job. The stakeholder in Kogi State to have done a good job. Even the international and local observer attestified to the election was free and fair.
The re-elected governor of Kogi State, Yaya Bello, condemned the violence that was recorded in parts of the state during the governorship and legislative election in the state.
We as a state government will work seriously to ensure that those who are culpable are brought to justice.
In Bayelsa State, the APC and PDP agents reacted differently immediately the result was released in Yanagua.
The APC has come to remedy those wrongs, to ensure that the people of Bayelsa State enjoy the dividend of democracy.
It is the worst election in human history, where we have now redefined credible, free and fair election to be an election where nobody dies, provided you rig successfully, you manufacture results, you manipulate results. Because nobody dies, it's a free and fair election.
Reacting, the elected APC governor-elect in Bayelsa State, David Leon, promised to carry the people of the state along in delivering the dividends of democracy to the people of the state.
I thank the good people of Bayelsa for standing by us, including APC. I believe this victory for APC is a victory for the people of Bayelsa.
INEC declared Kogi West senatorial seat election inconclusive. Patience Osaogiwa reporting.
The violence that characterized last Saturday's governorship and National Assembly elections in parts of Kogi and Bayelsa State has started to elicit reactions from Benin City residents. Iwoje Horia reports that the respondents are calling on the National Assembly to put in place legislation for electronic voting system in the country to check electoral fraud during elections in the country.
Return to democratic rule. Several elections have been characterized with violence. The violence in parts of Kogi and Bayelsa State during last Saturday's governorship election deterred the confidence of others in the outcome of the polls. According to these respondents, the magnitude of violence in the Kogi and Bayelsa elections gives cause for concern.
Kogi and Bayelsa elections have come and gone. The results are there for everyone to see. The tales that we have had, both from the mainstream and social media, are those of bloodletting, ballot snatching, maiming, killing, and all the ugly incidents that have always been associated with elections in this country, except that the magnitude of this latest one leaves everyone benumbed and dazed.
It's very, very unfortunate that at this age, Nigeria is still struggling with thug vote buying, killing of electorates.
There is no election in Nigeria that is free and fair. That you must have issues of violence, it must take place. Both parties are guilty of the violence.
What then is the solution to electoral violence in the country?
Let's put infrastructures in place for full-blown electronic voting. We don't lock up the country. People vote with minimum stress. And then, of course, all these stories of late arrival of materials and other logistical problems, snatching of ballot boxes, killing and maiming will be a thing of the past.
The electronic voting system which we had, which we were told and we believed was going to work, without the electoral law to stand by it and to back it up, we are merely wasting our time.
The only way out for Nigeria election is that option A4, two political party and independent candidates. And the party must be found by the government, not by individual, just as what happened within NRC and SDP.
The All Progressives Congress has been declared winner of the Kogi and Bayelsa state governorship election, while that of the National Assembly seat for Kogi West Senatorial District was declared inconclusive. Iboji Warrior reporting.
President Muhammadu Buhari today received the Bayelsa State Governor-elect David Leon at the presidential villa in Abuja. Mr. Leon, who won Saturday's governorship election in Bayelsa State, was accompanied to the State House by the APC Governorship Campaign Council for Bayelsa State, Governor Muhammad Badar Abubakar of Jigawa State. ITV Abuja State House correspondent Ikarata has more.
Few hours after being declared winner of weekend's Bayelsa State governorship election, David Leon arrived at the presidential villa in company of former Bayelsa State Governor and now Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timi Silva, some APC governors and party stalwarts. They were ushered into the meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari, which held behind closed doors. Speaking, Mr. Leon and Timi Silva were visibly elated over the electoral victory.
Today is one of my great days in my life. The great people of Bayelsa have spoken their mind by taking time to vote for our great party APC. It is indeed a welcome development.
We had a good candidate, and when you have a good product, it's very easy to sell it. So we went around and sold this good product to Bayelsans, and the result was an overwhelming success. I'd like to use the opportunity to thank the governors of Jigawa and Kebbi State.
The governor of Jigawa State, Abubakar Badero, believes that the electoral victory of the APC in Bayelsa State would help the fortune of the party and the nation.
I want to seize this opportunity to thank Bayelsans. They are remarkable. They know what they want. They know when they are prostrated how to act, and they have acted right. And I want to thank our leaders of the party, especially the leader of the party in Bayelsa, our Honorable Minister of State Petroleum, for digging out the right candidate. So the success of this election is in our being able to come up with the man of the people.
There are already strong indications that Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello, who also won re-election, will be at the presidential villa Tuesday to present himself to President Muhammadu Buhari. From the Aso Rock Presidential Villa, I'm Iharo Atta, ITV News, Abuja.
This meeting took place yesterday. Moving on, the Senate has distanced itself from the proposed legislation on hate speech following criticism that has greeted the bill which passed first reading last week. The acting spokesperson for the Red Chamber, Senator Godiya Akwashiki, told journalists yesterday in Abuja that contrary to widespread impression, the bill was not the idea of the Ninth Assembly. He said it was solely being sponsored by the Deputy Chief Whip, Sabi Abdullahi, based on his conviction, and maintained that the fate of the bill would be determined on the floor of the Senate after a robust debate by senators. The senator who sponsored the bill, Senator Sabi Abdullahi, insisted that a news briefing his proposed legislation was aimed at achieving peace in the country. He also denied being used by the executive arm of government to actualize or pave the way for the third-term agenda of the president. He claimed that Nigeria was not the only country affected by the issue of hate speech and that there was more than 20 countries that had various laws directly targeting hate speech. On the issue of death by hanging, Abdullahi said it was the judge that would determine the punishment. The Nigerian army said it has repelled an attack by Boko Haram terrorists in Dikwa local government area of Borno. In a statement in Abuja, the Nigerian Army Operations Media Coordinator, Colonel Aminu Iliasu, said that the encounter took place yesterday when troops of 150 Task Force Battalion deployed at New Mate embarked on patrol to Dikwa. According to him, the troops encountered an ambush staged against them by some remnants of the Boko Haram insurgents along the patrol routes. He disclosed that the troops recovered 2 gun trucks, 2 anti-aircraft guns, over 2,000 rounds of NATO ammunition, and 26 rounds of armor-piercing incendiary ammunition, 3 AK-47 rifles, motorcycles, clothes, foodstuff, and mechanical tools belonging to the criminals who were also captured by the troops. You're watching the World News on Independent Television. Still to come, protesters remain barricaded in Hong Kong University as standoff continues. Please stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. House of Representative investigators are looking into whether President Donald Trump lied to Special Counsel Robert Mueller during the Russia probe. Congressional impeachment lawmakers are reportedly scrutinizing the president's statements to Mr. Mueller on WikiLeaks. The main thrust of the Democratic-led inquiry is on alleged abuse of power by Mr. Trump in U.S.-Ukraine relations. Lawmakers first requested classified grand jury materials from the reports in July. A judge in October granted this access, though the Department of Justice appealed. Monday's hearing was to determine whether the appeal should temporarily block the previous grant of access. Away from the U.S., over 200 protesters have remained barricaded inside the Hong Kong University, surrounded by police, as the standoff enters a 3rd day. Protesters inside Polytechnic University are said to be running low on supplies.
Since last week, protesters have been inside the campus, initially preventing police from clearing them out. However, police then said they will be arrested for rioting, leaving some too scared to leave. Tensions could be further inflamed by China condemning a decision by Hong Kong's High Court to overturn a ban on face masks. Police had earlier warned protesters to leave the campus, stressing out that they could use live ammunition if the attacks continued. Police later moved in, surrounding the campus, which led to protesters throwing petrol bombs and firing rocks from catapults. On Monday, dozens of protesters were arrested by police officers as they attempted to run from the campus. A small group managed to leave using rope ladders before being picked up by motorcycles. Those arrested could be charged with rioting, which carries a penalty of up to 10 years in prison. Ameze Obaisiagbon reporting.
The U.S. has shifted its position on Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank, no longer viewing them as inconsistent with international law. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said the status of the West Bank was for Israelis and Palestinians to negotiate. Adesuwa Irinohai has details.
Israel welcomed the move, a reversal of the U.S. president's stance under President Donald Trump's predecessor, Barack Obama. Settlements are communities established by Israel on land occupied in the 1967 Middle East War. They have long been a source of dispute between Israel and the international community and the Palestinians. After carefully studying all sides of the legal debate, Mr. Pompeo said the United States has concluded that the establishment of Israeli civilian settlements in the West Bank is not inconsistent with international law. He described the establishment of civilian settlements as inconsistent with international law, pointing out that it hasn't advanced the cause of peace.
We've recognized the reality on the ground. We've now declared that settlements are not per se illegal under international law. And we have provided the very space that your question suggests, the very space for Israel and the Palestinians to come together to find a political solution to this very, very vexing problem.
Chief Palestinian negotiator Shoaib Iriket said the U.S. decision was a risk to global stability, security and peace, and it threatens to replace international law with the law of the jungle.
This constitutes a major threat to international peace and security. And this is turning the international community from the rules of international law, the rules of solving conflicts by peaceful means, into the rules of the jungle.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the policy shifts rights a historical wrong and called on other countries to do the same. The issue of Jewish settlement is one of the most contentious between Israel and the Palestinians.
People of Israel, this is a historic day and another great achievement to our policy. The U.S. administration has now put an end to the lie that settlements are illegal.
Adesuwa Iwinohai reporting.
As the fallout from Duke of York, Prince Andrew's News 9's interview continues, the revelations are taking its toll on the Queen. It says the monarch is struggling without the Duke of Edinburgh, who is living quietly on the Sandringham estate, and Prince Charles, who is on a tour of New Zealand. Report says the situation has taken its toll on the Duke's family and urges the Queen to get a grip before the family's damage irreparable. The U.S. judge is due to rule on whether to release new legal documents relating to Jeffrey Expen, which will mention the Duke by name. Meanwhile, report says charges will be brought as early as this week against 2 prison guards who were on duty on the night the U.S. billionaire Jeffrey Epstein was found hung in his cell. A preliminary investigation found irregularities with logs, which indicated Epstein had been checked on a regular basis. A coal mine explosion has killed 15 people in North China's Shanxi province. Report says 9 other people were injured by the gas explosion on Monday afternoon, which took place on Monday afternoon, which took place in a mine owned by Sanji Piango Coal and Coke Group Coal. 35 miners were working on the ground when the blast happened, but 11 miners were able to escape. Report says the injured miners were in a stable condition. An official at the Sanjin Administration of Coal Mine Safety today said that the accident revealed a lack of awareness of the rule of law and chaotic management by the company involved. A 15-year-old girl and a truck driver were killed when a suspension bridge collapsed in southwestern France. 2 vehicles fell into the River Tarn, north of Tours, when the bridge near the village of Mirepoix-sur-Tarn fell down. 5 people were also seriously injured, including 2 rescuers and people who were tried to save victims. An investigation has been opened on the matter, and there has long been concerns at the state of the country's bridges. Local authorities said the girl was traveling in a car with her mother when the bridge collapsed. Police public prosecutor Dominic Azari said her mother was dragged from the water by bystanders. A truck also fell into the river. The body of its driver was found during a day-long operation involving helicopters and dozens of emergency services personnel. Grieving families in Vietnam have been offered loans to cover the cost of repatriating their loved ones in the wake of XXLorry incident. Some relatives said they have been approached by the Vietnamese authority with consent forms. These gave them the option of taking a loan from the government or covering the repatriation costs themselves. Authorities found the bodies of 29 Vietnamese nationals inside a container in the town of Grace in Essex last month. 2 lorry drivers have since been charged with manslaughter, and several other men have been arrested in connection with the case. While the police identified all the victims 10 days ago, the bodies have not yet returned to Vietnam. Coroners in England and Wales must grant permission before a body can be moved abroad or to other parts of the UK. A woman has accused Jeffrey Epstein of sexually abusing her at the age of 15 and called on Prince Andrew to share information on his former friend. The new accuser, identified as Jane Doe, alleged that she suffered a vicious, prolonged sexual assault. She is the latest of many women to sue Epstein's estate for alleged sexual abuses. It comes amid controversy over Prince Andrew's ties to the sex offender. On Monday, accountancy firm announced it would now renew its sponsorship of the Prince's entrepreneurship initiative. And now to end the world news, a look again at our top stories. Between 100 to 200 protesters have remained barricaded inside a Hong Kong university, surrounded by police as the standoff enters a 3rd day. The U.S. has shifted its position on Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank, no longer viewing them as inconsistent with international laws. And as the fallout from the Duke of York, Prince Andrew's Newsnight interview continues, the revelations are taking its toll on the Queen. And that's it on the World News. Thanks for watching. I'm Daisy Obaisagwon. Good afternoon.
Independent television news, truly independent.
Are you looking for a place to study with uninterrupted educational system? Are you looking for a place where you can study, work and remain after graduation? Or are you looking forward to relocate with your family? Worry no more. At Itv World Educational Service Limited, we process your admission and study visa with ease and rest of mind. We process your Canada Express entry on a timely basis. We register and train you for IELTS to obtain high scores. Admission is now open in Canada, UK, Ireland, USA, Australia, Germany, Sweden, Finland, Norway, Turkey, Schengen and other European Asia countries. For application, visit us today at Suite 35 at the Shopping Plaza, 27 Airport Road, opposite of telephone number 0809-113-1759 or 0803-735-156. Edu Abroad, your gateway to abroad.
no abukmo ne kwere ne ogyo na ya mu egbe bari uge no hokwan senator evolution plus adire atiku brocade ashoke Ghana was Côte d'Ivoire inu agata yi eri aga be mi okpa wo wa webo na ya lo bobotizo ke be mi simo gbe na ya wizo mi egbo ebi howe ori yarun sapa na mi o aga mi ma